The one thing they all have in common with each other, but do not have in common with the honest, truth-telling digital soldiers of America, is they got paid for their part and are still getting paid, while the people continue to pay for all of it. And none of us are getting paid for our service, which happens to be the service of saving the goddamn world. Hey everyone, welcome back. And most of us have probably seen this guy by now.
Dear Mr. President, first of all I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this short video. This can have an incredible impact on the whole world. I'm coming to you on behalf of two very courageous men who can have a significant impact on the future of humanity and on the course that our world will be going in the future. The first man is Călin Georgescu. He is the presidential candidate for the nation of Romania in Europe. As you no doubt are aware, he won the primaries with a landslide, as the Romanian people are massively on his side, because he is opposing the criminal, nefarious system of the deep state that is now suffocating the people of Romania. The second man I would like to bring to your attention, Mr. President, is Dr. Rainer Fuellmich. Dr. Fuellmich is one of the most courageous men in our world.
And between his overacting and the fact that this has the slightest stink of globalist-controlled opposition propaganda to it, it generally rubs me the wrong way. But when I apply a common-sense lens to what's actually going on here, I'm reminded that we aren't really the gullible serf archetypes we used to be. And we know this, and they know this, and they know we know, and we know they know. So now, when we make a petition, we can embody what we know about who we are, which is genetic royalty, the crown jewel of the galaxy, and we should expect to have our public servants, who ought to be considered the stewards of our happiness, respond quickly, attentively, and effectively to our requests. Remember, they work for us, and they won't know what we expect or want unless we make it very clear to them directly. And so like this guy, and like me, and like some others you may have seen or heard or read making direct petitions to President Trump lately, you too could consider speaking or appealing to him directly on your platform to let him know we're good to go and perhaps more about your personal expectations. It's the way an honest-to-goodness constitutional republic was meant to operate in the first place. So the good part about your boy is that he's suggesting this is a calm about openly petitioning President Trump and his admin and expecting to get a response, which I consider a pretty solid idea right now. It's wild to think about, but we're in a free society with a free government that's finally pulling back the curtain to listen to us. We've got a direct line to President Trump and his administration to lay out our deepest desires and darkest concerns. Stuff like dismantling the corrupt systems, exposing the elites, and breaking free from the globalist chains. These topics are all now on the table and are open for discussion. No gatekeeping, no shadow bans, just us and them. Trump just announced officially that DOGE is auditing the IRS. We've got Ron Paul saying, when I say cut taxes, I don't mean fiddle with the tax code. I mean abolish the income tax and the IRS and replace them with nothing. We've got Tulsi Gabbard being sworn in as National Intelligence Director, RFK confirmed as HHS Secretary, and on it goes. So what's holding us back? They're dismantling the Department of Education's control grid, they shut down USAID, they're releasing the Epstein files, and going after Child Protective Services. So let's make sure they follow through and keep going while they're at it. In general, it seems like they want to know more about what matters most to us, so we should let them know, and I'll go first. First of all, can we please stop with all the secret codes and top secret baloney? The enemy's been taken care of, the archons are gone, US frickin' aid is being audited publicly. I mean seriously, can we please end the charade and start being transparent with our language and intentions? Who's left to hide the truth from? Europe? Israel? But come on. If I know, and you know, and Ian Carroll knows, then Mossad knows too, so can we just stop cloak and daggering? I know Vince wrote a great script and Scavino needs to get paid, but let's move this movie along. The plot's getting long in the tooth, and how much constant attention and recognition does one guy need? He's literally sucking up all the oxygen on planet Earth right now. And I know a lot of people have a lot of lessons to learn and a lot of personal growth that they must go through, like the high-ranking, unscrupulous judges, the doctors and the scientists and the agency directors and politicians and teachers and the hospital staff who will need to pay their debt to society for the bribes they took, the influence peddling, and the harm they caused, not to mention the public trust they betrayed. But what about those of us who knew better and did better? What about those of us who took an oath and who didn't take any bribes? What about those of us who lost our jobs, our families, and who went all in to make sure the truth got out, that the pandemic failed, and that your little plan worked out in the end? See, the thing about all the judges who took bribes and the scumbags who peddled influence and sold out the people like the doctors who got paid $2,500 a shot just on the one pandemic to inject their patients, or the scientists betraying the scientific method to produce bought and paid for findings, or the shady agency officials who make our lives as citizens unbearable with their red tape, all while getting paid on the back end, to the judges using the authority we granted them to undermine our freedom, using a fraudulent counterfeit legal system to trick us into paying them just for showing up at their fake courthouses, to the immigrants who were used to make a point about keeping our borders safe, the one thing they all have in common with each other, but do not have in common with the honest, truth-telling digital soldiers of America, is they got paid for their part and are still getting paid while the people continue to pay for all of it. And none of us are getting paid for our service, which happens to be the service of saving the goddamn world. And if USAID is showing us one thing, it's showing us that it's pretty easy to get rich in this country if you're willing to be a sellout and if you're willing to be a bad person. I've been saying this for years, and USAID is all the proof I need that getting rich on planet Earth is easy if you're willing to be a bad person. But what about the good guys? What about ending the inversion, ending the satanic mindset, and rewarding what is good and pure? Not what's been compromised, and not what's sold out over and over like the recycled garbage posing as the alt media, and not what's overtly twisted, stupid, and evil in this country like football and Hollywood. For once, just once in the history of my entire life, can the right thing, which is to say that which is right and good and fair and just, and what Jesus and God and the benevolent aliens and higher consciousness and the inner child and Alex Collier himself would all want for society, which is the right thing to fucking do. Could that be allowed to happen now for the first time in history? Are you going to skin that smoke wagon, or are you just going to stand there and bleed? That said, it's nice we have a hottie as a director of national intelligence, and it's great that our HHS secretary is ripped, and a Kennedy no less. But I think I genuinely speak for all conscious America, the 88 million Americans who got all you guys elected, the Americans who made conservatism cool, and who make you relevant when I say, please, just shut up and give us back our gold. So yes, there are those of us in our society, the shady judges, the shady docs, the shady scientists, the shady politicians, and the shady admins who should have to wait on retribution. And hell, who may wind up owing some. And we all know who they are because they all, just like us, have been posting about it on social media. And all those fuckers at the FBI who've been shadow banning the truthers also know exactly who all the real criminals in this country are. I mean, if they can just throw you in jail or liquidate your assets because of how and what you post on social, can't they just as easily give us back our gold and pay us the retribution they damn well owe us based on our Twitter feed and what we've been posting on social media? It's all right there in chronological, time-stamped, date-stamped order, isn't it? It seems pretty simple, and I'm sure Elon has an app that can take care of it. All those posts from rich doctors advertising lines around the building back in 2021, I'm sure are still out there. As are the posts from the lone voices in the wilderness, protecting the people from the villainous marauders. The digital soldiers who are the war fighters of the battle for the human soul. I've been saying from the beginning that we're in a focus group, that we're programming the internet, and they know every single thing we've ever said, done, or typed into the Internet of Things instantly about every living soul online. They know who the good guys and the bad guys are like they've never known before. We all know. And so you're not going to make us go through with the class action lawsuits due to the poisons you've been pumping into our food, our water, our medicine, our health products, and our fucking lollipops, are you? You're not going to make us sue you over the fact that you've been forcing us to pay for energy that's already paid for out of our strawman accounts and that's free in the first place, are you? You're not going to make us haul your asses into court over the fact that every economic contract ever written in modern history based on maritime law using the false grammar construct of maritime law is written on bad paper and is therefore null, void, and illegal, are you? You're just going to return the stolen diamonds and let us live our lives, right? Along with access to the advanced technologies you've been hiding, our human history, the true story of our origins, and our true purpose, our true powers, and our true abilities, so that we can unlock our own human technologies, our own supernatural abilities. Oh, and you'll be getting rid of the insane indoctrination system that was falsely labeled as education and paying us to educate our children so that they can become good citizens of our powerful nation. And finally, you'll put a stop to the criminal mockingbird media. What's being done to what's left of their audiences will one day be considered a war crime and a form of psychological torture. But first, you'll repeal what Obama did to the Smith-Mundt Act in 2013. Trump's already getting his settlements from the media. What about us? And so it's not enough to just watch them act. We've got to have the guts to ask for what we really want. And not just the small stuff, and not just the safe stuff, but the big things that keep us up at night. If we want a world with no taxes where the IRS is dismantled, we need to demand it. If we're sick of the elite stealing our wealth through corrupt systems and we want retribution for every dollar they've taken for the last 5 generations, we have to call it out. If we dream of living in a 5D world that's free from the debt slavery model that chains us endlessly to money, then we have to start saying it like I'm saying right now, which is with authority and unapologetically. I don't know about you, but if there's one thing this matrix has taught me, it's that I have really, really low standards for myself. And what I may consider my absolute wildest dream is probably the bare minimum I deserve. And now I know this. In my bones, I deserve better. Much better. And so do you if you're watching this. We've got the freedom, the access, and the proof they're paying attention. It's on us now to step up, speak clearly, and hold them to it. Use your platform, post on X, make memes. The point is, we've got the tools and the moment. Don't chicken out. They're listening. Make sure they hear you. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for sticking around, and we'll see you next time.